Hi everyone! Today's the day I can finally share a little project that I've made using the Art by Marlene 2025 release, and I'm very excited about this little journal. So we've been out the house for the last couple of days, which has been very frustrating for me, knowing that I've got this beautiful box of goodies to play with and I can't. But I'm finally back, so I will maximize on getting some of these videos done and edited for you guys. Before I started recording, to save you the absolute drag of watching me die cut, I die cut some watercolor paper using the base of the new die set, and I also cut one of Marlene's new paper pads. I used a green sheet there, and I'm just going to build a journal with it. So I cut the pattern paper that I used from Marlene. I just stuck on the front and the back panel, because that will be the cover of my little journal. And then I am sticking the pages together using a little bit of masking tape. So it's really easy. You just plonk down a strip of tape and then put the page on top and the other one on top, and then fold it. I do make sure that I leave a little gap between the pages, just to make sure that the pages can turn quite easily. If they right together, there's actually going to be a fold. The paper is going to fold in the middle there. I hope that makes sense. To cover the little masking tape strip, I've just cut an extra piece of that green paper, and I'm just going to fold it over and glue it down using my wet glue. And then I'm just going to trim off the excess, and then I'll start working on a focal image, I think. Or maybe I'll work on the background first, who knows. So while I'm deciding what to do, I just wanted to take a second here and say thank you so much to Studio Light for sending me the collection and for trusting me to do the collection justice. Thank you to Kim at K-Craft. So if you are in South Africa and you'd like to get your hands on these goodies from Marlene, you can definitely get in contact with K-Craft. I will leave a link in the description below, and then you can get yourself some fun goodies. Okay, so first off, I went in with a stencil. That green was very green for me. Green is not a color that I use a lot, except if it's like in leaves. So I just stenciled over the top with a little bit of Marlene's white paint, which is called lace, and some mark making. Now I've got this layered flower stamp, and I've left my oopsie in there for you to see, so hopefully you don't make the same mistake. Okay, first one went well. I've sponged on some pink paint and red paint and spritzed it a little bit with some water, and then I smush it down, and that print came out all right. Second one, same thing. I don't think I spritzed it all that much though. Then the third one, and this is where the disaster happens, I dipped my sponge into water to make it nice and soggy, and then look at that, sponged on quite a thick layer of paint, and when I stamped it down, the paper actually tore off my page. So this is just white cardboard, just white board. It's not for wet media. I suspect maybe that's one mistake, and also going in with very thick paint was maybe not the best idea. So I changed tactics and I decided to use my scribble sticks instead, and I really like the way this came out. The colors are far more vibrant than the paints, and I suspect really the paint part is just user error. I will definitely be playing around with this technique a little bit more. I had to take my stamp over to a tap and some soap, and I actually had to give it a good scrubbing to get that paper pulp off my stamp. So it's a little bit stained from the red, but that's okay. At least I was able to salvage my stamp. I was really worried that I'd ruined it on the very first try, but I managed to save it, which is very good. Okay, and after I've cleaned up my disaster and dried off the flowers, I'm going in with the second layer of the stamp, and that is the outline. So the first few stamps that I do on the two flowers that I don't love so much, because I often find that new stamps need a little bit of a priming, I guess. So the first stamp on a new stamp set is always a little bit dodgy. So if you are getting a new stamp, rather press it down a couple of times on a scrap piece of paper first to get that layer of ink sitting on your stamp already, because it just gives your new layer of ink a good base to sit on top of, and it actually stamps much clearer that way. That's what I found. You can let me know if there's another way to make it better, but yeah, that's what's worked for me. All right, now I'm going in with my color pencils. I just want to brighten up those colors a tad. I love the colors and I love the watercolor look, so I'm not going over the top with my coloring because I really want that watercolory effect to still come through. And they really did turn out really nice. I like the way these flowers came out in the end. So if you see me working with these flowers already made and cut and colored and everything, I will probably be doing this in the evenings in front of the TV or whatever, and just mass make a whole bunch of them in different colors and play around with different techniques. I'm not going to share, rubbing scribble sticks on a stamp and spritzing it and pressing it down, then coloring over the top. It'll bore you to death. So I am going to mass make using that technique, and then I will hopefully have a little bit of a stash to work my way through. I really liked this brighter, more reddish toned one. So I decided I'm going to use that one because it will also be a really nice contrast on that green background. And now I'm just going to go in with a little bit of paint pen detail, adding white dots. And I'll use the colored pencils as well, just to fill in the gaps where I didn't quite line up the stamp very well. I did find lining up the stamp very tricky. So in the end, I decided I'm just going to stamp it down and I will make it work somehow. And with Marlene's paint pens, it's so easy to make them work. Look how nice that looks on the green. I was really chuffed with that. And I've got all these other little die cut elements that I just did a whole mass cut in different colors. And all of the little mandala shapes in that. I just did a whole lot of cuts this morning just to get myself a stash going, so I don't have to stop midway and cut something. So I'm trying to keep the flow of the creativity going. And before I stick on a quote, I found the tiny little flower stamp again in that layered stamp set, and I'm just using it as a little bit of background detail. I really like how that looks. I'll probably be using that a lot. So if you've seen the collection, which product are you most excited about? Which one are you getting first? I'd love to hear from you. If you have not done so yet, please subscribe to my channel. I love that you are here. I will have a lot more content coming up using this release and actually many other releases and other products. So I look forward to having you here. Little ribbon to tie off the tag at the top there, and I will call that done. Thanks for being here, and I will chat to you again soon. Bye.